What's up, everybody? Old School NYC Gamer here on location at the Pinball Hall of Fame here in fabulous Las Vegas. And yeah, you know, this is one of the videos I was talking about in my last update. So let's check it out, people. Thanks to my newly acquired father-in-law, he gave me a ride here. And there's actually another YouTuber from what I've been hearing through the grapevine. He's gonna make an appearance here. So let me just pull the door open. And we're just going to take a quick tour of the establishment here. And first off, people, I'm surprised that you even have this. I haven't been here in over a year since the last time I was here. This is the old school, or I say old school Batman pinball game, as you can see right there. And of course, this is a more newly acquired Batman with Christian Bale, if you can see right there. To show you a little bit of that table. Of course, there's a ton more pinball games here. You got Lord of the Rings, Big Buck 100 Pro, and Roller Coaster Tycoon. And of course, here you got Monopoly, Ripley's Believe It or Not, Simpsons Pinball Party. And this is one of my favorite tables to play. I remember John Mainkate, he actually has this game back in his house, and still being worked on. Hopefully, he'll get that worked on. Hopefully, have it fixed soon. Of course, here you got Cactus Canyon, so you can see right there. Got Monster Bash and then Pirates of the Caribbean. And of course, here you got Medieval Madness, another one of the games I know John Mainkate has, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, here you got Austin Powers. And then, of course, you got Indiana Jones. Of course, here you got a Wheel of Fortune. And then Family Guy. Shrek 24. And then, of course, here you got Spiderman that was released back in 1980 by Gottlieb. And it's actually a pretty big you know, front-facing compared to some of the other pinball games here, like the newer version of Spider-Man and NASCAR. And this was released by Gottlieb Company back in May of 1980, as you can see the information right there. So we're probably going to check out some of the gameplay here. I might play this in a little bit. I'm going to do random pinball gameplay videos, but I'm just going to keep going here, back and forth. Of course, here you got Ballpark. It's a pretty cool game. Basically, the premise is the ball comes down here, just hit the ball, and depending on what you hit, you're going to see how far you'll get, if you're going to get your runs, your outs, and whatnot. Of course, here you got Jokers, Jurassic Park, and you got one game here that's not working at the moment. You can see right there. I remember one of my old bodegas back in the day actually had this game in the back, and I used to play it. You got Gottlieb's Royal Flush, and you got Big Flipper, which came out in January of 1970. Of course, here people, you got 007's GoldenEye, Apollo 13. You got a really cool game here, a Time Machine, that came out in by Data East in 1988. Sorry for the shaky camera work there, people. And this is something I thought I would never see here, people. Star Wars, the pinball game, and this is like a really old school original. And yeah, I mean, I'm really, you know, surprised to see this. And I just noticed this right here, people. I know somebody probably put that there for a spoof, but this is a really awesome, awesome game here. And of course, you got Lethal Weapon 3 is not working at the moment. You got Party Zone. And of course, here you got Whitewater. Got the Flintstones, Bow and Arrow. Of course, moving on with the tour here, you got Captain Fantastic, and of course you got Knight Rider. And not the Knight Rider from back in the day, but Knight Rider the truck. This came out in, I believe, November of 1976. It says the information right over there. Of course, here you got the famous Wizard. And if you watched The Who, you know what I'm talking about right there. And of course, I'm going to have to play this game just for, you know, old school nostalgic reasons. Of course, continuing on, people, we got Fireball. Firepower. Of course, here we got a stand-up track and field cabinet. It's really cool. You know, it shows its age, but you know, it works great. So you can see right there. Let's move on to the other side. We got a basic, you know, basketball skill game right there. Let's get the 35th anniversary Data East Playboy. So this gentleman here is playing Gilligan's Island. And over here we have Cyclone. And something I thought I would never see by Gottlieb. Street Fighter II Championship Edition pinball game. I mean, this is really, really trippy. I mean, really, I thought I never even heard of you know, Gottlieb even putting this out as a pinball game. So I'm definitely gonna have to play some of this and, you know, let you guys know what's up with this. And this actually did come out in January of 1993, which is actually pretty cool. Of course, you got a claw machine here, Toy Taxi. Continuing on here, got one of the more unusual cabinets I've seen here is Popeye. Of course, you have you know, you have your flipper action right over here. And of course, you have some more skill action up here when you're up on the boat. And we got the Ted Nugent pinball game, which came out by Stern in November of 1978. Pretty basic cab, you know, pretty basic table, as you can see right there. And you got Scared Stiff featuring Elvira. And next up here, we got a little mini game here, a little mini pinball game here called Safecracker. It's a pretty tiny cabinet right here, for a pretty tiny you know, pinball machine. Of course, you got the Addams Family. We got a couple of machines here that are not working, which is a shame. Pretty cool here. You got Fastball. And yet another really cool game here called Circus Voltaire, or Volatar, which however you want to pronounce it. Really cool here is, people, that these you got some neon here that actually lights up. I mean, it's a very mind-blowing cabinet, you know, for the senses. And one of my favorite games here, people, and I grew up playing this a hell of a lot back in the day, and that's Getaway. See, for the plunger here, you got the shift. Very awesome table. Because of course, you know, when you have to shift your gears, there's like a little motor right over there. And yes, surprised they made a movie out of this, and they actually made a pinball game out of this, and that's Waterworld. And I can say this is a hell of a lot better than the Nintendo Virtual Boy version, and you know what I'm talking about. Of course, here you got the classic Black Knight, right over there. Got Harley Davidson, Who Done It, and over here people got Jurassic Park: The Lost World, Bonsai Run, and of course here we got two real old school machines. One's not working, which is a shame. You got Starjet, and you got Lawman, which is made by Gottlieb in October of '71. Alright, people, so continuing more with the tour here. This is the new Tron Legacy pinball game I've been hearing so much about. Definitely more for the optical senses right here. And it's going to be continuing on some of the more classic tables. You got Cleopatra right over here. Gottlieb's Canada Dry. You know, it's all about marketing back in those days. see right there. Bitter orange, ginger ale. And of course, you got Wipeout. And this is one really weird game, people. This is Orbiter 1. Now, the way this works is, it's kind of hard to see. I mean, it's more of a 3D sense, but if you look at the table, it definitely goes, you know, like this. Depending on where you hit, there's magnets and it kind of holds the ball. So, yeah. It's kind of a hard game to kind of figure out, but it's definitely a fun game. And next up here, we have a real classic game here, Surfer, which was released by Gottlieb in November of 1976. And over here, you got Big Brave. One cool table here, people, is called the Pinball Circus. Moving on here, people, we got Orange County Choppers. What do we call this? A video game, kind of a weird, like a video/pinball game. And you got the Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends machine here by Data East. And of course, one of my favorite games, and I don't know if people might think I'm nuts, is Q*bert's Quest. And I've only seen this a handful of times in other places, but never, you know, out in the wild. Moving on over here, people, we got the infamous Superman pinball game. I'll tell you now, people, it sucks. And that's the reason why. That's too wide. I know it's a challenging thing, and Atari made this back in April of '79, but it's one of those games I would totally pass up on. And of course here you got Champion Pub, No Fear, and of course you got the machine Pride of Pinbot. And of course, the original Pinbot right over here. And you got Pool Sharks. Very classic old school pinball game here. Space Shuttle, if I could focus in on that. Give me a second. I'm just going to apologize for the out of focus action right here. And then, of course, you got the infamous Funhouse, as you can see right there. Of course, you got Comet and Indiana Jones, Johnny Mnemonic, and Theater of Magic over here. Of course, we got Jackpot over here as it's getting played. Of course, you got Close Encounters of the Third Kind, released by Gottlieb. Of course, going more back to the old school theme here, you got Wild Wild West and Crescendo. Two pretty chill cabs, you know, arcade game tables to play. And you got to notice how small the flippers are on this one. So, you know, that's a very challenging game. You know, it's more of a skill shot thing than more, you know, for points. One very unique game here is Chicago Coin Speedway. And of course here it's more of a film. As soon as you put the quarter in, you basically, you know, just go start up the game. You got a big old steering wheel and, you know, it's got your gas pedal right there. Of course here you got the game show, which is released by Bally and Mata Hari. Bugs Bunny's Birthday Ball, which is out of service at the moment, but it's very, you know, very cool game to play. And you got Snow Derby, Bad Cats, Solar City, and one of my favorite games to this day to still play, and that is South Park. And of course, you know, there's two versions of this. You got the clean version and the dirty version. And if you don't know about the dirty version, just Google it. You'll see what I mean. Of course, here you got Fun Fest. And hey, if Ted Nugent can have his own game, Guns N' Roses can have their own either. You know, made by Data East. It's definitely, you know, kind of a fun game to play here. I'm very oriented with the band. There's see some of the flashes here. Cool thing here is, you know, the plunger is a gun. You can see over there. Actually, well, the target's a gun here, but the plunger's a rose. Go figure. Of course, here you got Space Station. And next up, you got Dr. Dude, Jumping Jack, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and over here you got the classic Star Trek. Of course, you want to go even more way back in the day here, people, you got the original Star Trek pinball game right here. Made for Bally way back in the day. And of course, here you have Star Trek The Next Generation.